The soft hum of hyperspace engines filled the air as Soren Warde leaned back in his chair, watching Kiro rummage through the ship's storage compartments with wide-eyed curiosity. The boy was tireless, moving from one distraction to the next with an almost feverish energy. A moment earlier, he had marched into the cockpit, proudly donning Soren's Mandalorian helmet, its oversized frame tilting precariously on his head. Now, Kiro was attempting to rearrange a pile of spare tools on the floor, humming tunelessly to himself. Soren sighed, equal parts amused and concerned. Kiro's behavior was not what he expected from a boy of his apparent age. There was a wild innocence to him, almost as if he had skipped entire stages of childhood development, and that only deepened Soren's unease. Once they had safely entered hyperspace en route to Mandalore, Soren guided Kiro to the ship's lounge area. The boy reluctantly left his scavenging behind, only after Soren promised him another ration bar to chew on. Soren needed answers, and while the boy's lack of coherent responses had frustrated him earlier, he wasn't ready to give up. "Kiro," Soren began gently, sitting across from the boy at the small Durasteel table, "I need to understand more about what happened to you. How did you end up on that planet?" Kiro tilted his head, blinking as if the question were spoken in an alien tongue. He nibbled on the ration bar thoughtfully before responding, "Mountain go boom, Kiro hide, witch mad." "Yes, I remember you telling me that," Soren said, trying to hide his frustration. "But before that, do you remember where you came from? Your family?" The boy frowned, his white hair falling into his eyes. He opened his mouth as though to speak, but quickly closed it again. After a moment, he simply shook his head. Soren leaned forward, his voice softening. "It's okay. You're safe now. But if you let me, I might be able to help you remember." Kiro looked at him quizzically, his lips forming a small pout. "How?" "I can use the Force to look into your thoughts," Soren explained. "It won't hurt, I promise, but only if you're okay with it." Kiro hesitated, but the promise of food quickly swayed him. "Okay, more cookies after?" "Deal." Soren smiled faintly. He reached out, placing a hand gently on the boy's head. Closing his eyes, Soren focused, allowing the Force to flow through him. At first, there was nothing, a void of darkness and confusion, as if Kiro's mind were a shattered mirror reflecting fragmented pieces of memory. But as Soren probed deeper, images began to form, disjointed and haunting. A crying infant, barely weeks old, cradled in the arms of shadowy figures cloaked in black. Chanting voices echoed in an ancient tongue as a ritual unfolded. Soren saw Kiro's body being subjected to unnatural energies, his tiny frame writhing as his years were forcibly accelerated. The Cabal had used dark magics to transform him from a defenseless baby into a boy, his body made stronger to serve their twisted purposes. But something had gone wrong. During the ceremony, Kiro's blood, intended to unlock the tomb the Cabal sought, failed to meet their needs. Furious at their failure, the witch discarded him like refuse, leaving him to die amidst the ruins. The memories overwhelmed Soren, and he pulled his hand away with a sharp gasp. Kiro looked up at him, unfazed, as if nothing had happened. He resumed chewing on the ration bar, his attention already drifting elsewhere. Soren stared at the boy, his chest tightening. "You poor child," he whispered. "What have they done to you?" It was clear now why Kiro's memories were so fragmented and his speech so stilted. His mind had never had the chance to grow naturally, his innocence stolen in the name of dark ambitions. But more than that, Soren now understood the depth of the Cabal's depravity. They didn't just seek power, they were willing to twist the very fabric of life to achieve their ends. And Kiro was living proof of their cruel methods. Soren sat back, his thoughts racing. The boy wasn't just a survivor. He was a symbol of what the Cabal was capable of. And perhaps, just perhaps, he was also the key to uncovering their plans. For now, one thing was certain. Kiro needed protection, guidance, and a chance to reclaim the childhood that had been stolen from him. "Kiro," Soren said softly, looking at the boy who was now attempting to balance a spanner on his nose. "You're safe with me. I promise." The boy grinned, oblivious to the weight of Soren's words. But as Soren looked at him, he couldn't shake the feeling that their meeting was no accident. Kiro's survival wasn't just luck. It was the Force, weaving their fates together. And as the ship continued its journey through hyperspace, Soren knew one thing for certain. The battle against the Cabal was only beginning, and this boy, this survivor, would be at the heart of it.